Okay, so the fiance and I got married last Saturday, a week ago. And while we were staying in a hotel, someone broke into our car, smashed our window. So I'm going to go outside and I've ordered the new window. I'm going to go outside and see if I can install it myself and save a little bit of money. I've never done this before. I'm not a professional. We'll see how it goes. These are all the tools that I think I will need. Hopefully that holds true. Screwdriver, some a drill gun, and basic small socket set. And then you're supposed to have like a separator to kind of pry out the side of the door here, but this is a paint scraper. It's plastic. Let's see if I can get the job done with it. First thing we're gonna do is they're all over the place. They have tucked away screws behind these little pop out spots on the plastic. So we got to basically take all those out. There's 5 or 6 of them. I'll show you at the end where they're all at. Okay, so there's a total of, I believe, 4 of these, unless I've missed any. We'll see. There was one that popped out here, one that popped out there, a couple screws. There's one under here that's now hanging down. I boogered it up a little bit, but not too terribly bad. There's a screw under there, and then up here on the top of the handle, there's a screw in here as well. So now time to remove all the screws and get moving. Okay, I got all the screws out of this, and I was able to get this piece off as well, which was just the door frame, and that just popped off with the separator. Right now, all I'm trying to do is kind of work my way around with this just plastic piece to try and loosen up all the pop connections that are holding this door on, which are one by one kind of coming loose. So I'll work on that and try to get the door loose. Okay, as you can see here, the door is now free. The only thing keeping it in place now is basically clips. It's just hanging from the top of the door here. And then when I pull it off, it's going to be attached in a couple places, probably to the speaker should be in the door. There'll be a wire up here, and I think there'll be a wire, two wires, if I remember correctly. And basically, we just got to separate this handle out. So I'm going to lift off. The door comes off, and now we have a wire, and this is supposed to just push straight off, so we'll get working on that. Okay, so just as I thought, there were 2 connections. Basically, the handle, all I had to do was push right here on the handle, and it popped right off, no problem. Then there was this connection here lower to the lock system that has just a little push clip in, and that pulled right out as well. So far, so good. Now, as far as the actual window itself, I'm gonna turn the car on in a minute, but I gotta figure out where I'll be able to access this actual window system itself, because it's all behind this plastic, so I may have to remove a lot of this. Get working on that. Okay, helpful piece of information. One thing I just discovered is the window seat stuff. These things would not move unless I had this plugged into the door. So it only took me a few minutes to figure that out, but I was a little worried that maybe the actual mechanical structure of the door window system was broken, but it's not. Just the electrical system is not connected unless this is plugged in. So you want to lower that all the way down to the lowest operating space before you take the door window off all the way. The other thing I'm seeing is lots of glass inside the door, and that's going to make a bunch of gross noise moving around the highway. So I'm going to maybe see if I can find an attachment on my vacuum that's long enough to get in there and suck most of that stuff out. Okay, so as you can see, This side used to look like this side. I was able to fish a ratchet into here and basically take this clipping that was on the old window off this bolt inside there, and it came right loose. So it's a 10mm socket. Took me a while to figure that out, but hopefully I can reach in and grab this one too. It's pretty tight space. We will see. Okay, so I was able to finally get that bolt off. It'll focus. The best way to do it, I think, is to loosen up the brackets from the actual window crank motor. And that allows a little more freedom. You got to be careful because the supports for the window are actually made of plastic. You don't want to break that. Now, got my window out. I'm just going to very carefully wiggle it down in there and set it on top of those supports and see if we can screw it in without breaking it. Here goes nothing. Okay, I've struggled with this for about 20 minutes. I do finally have the window in here and seated on this track. I'm having a hard time seating it in this track, so I'm just kind of fiddling with it and don't really trying hard not to break the glass, but we'll keep working. Okay, so after some issues, I was able to get the window seated appropriately. It slid up and down just fine. What I ended up having to do is get some just random bolts because this housing on this Chinese window is not OEM and it's not fitting as well. So there's a little bit of play in here in terms of the plastic. I basically just tightened it down a little past hand tight. There's a chance that maybe this comes loose in the future. I would not recommend it if I was a professional. If someone was paying me to do this, I wouldn't do it this way, but it's mine and it's attached. So I think if I hook it up, everything should work again, but we will see. Okay, key in the ignition turned on. Let's see. Look at that. Like I said, it's not a professional job. I do not recommend you do this way, but I have a window that works, so that's all that matters. Okay, so disclaimers. I am not a window guy. I am not a car guy. My field of expertise has nothing to do with automobiles. This was something I just wanted to do because I think it's fun and because I thought I could do it for cheaper than what I'd pay somebody to do at a glass shop. And the takeaway point number one is I got it. It works. If you didn't see me do it, you would think it's professional. What I'll say is this Chinese window, the fit of it, the shape of it is perfect. It doesn't slide when the thing is when it's in there and it's free, it won't even move. But it slides nice and easy. It's perfect fit. The bracket attachments were the problem. They did not have the exact perfect shape, so we had to improvise. I think in hindsight, I would go to a junkyard and pull the window off of a junked car. I think it would fit better. I think it'd probably be cheaper, and you could get it same day. And now that I know how to take the door panel off and everything like that, it would take me 20 minutes to drive there, 20 minutes to pull it off the car, 20 minutes to drive home. For an hour of my time, I could have saved a little money on the window and gotten an OEM part. So that's probably would have been choice to do number one. The other thing is the harness that actually pulls up and down the window. It has this little black plastic harness that mine cracked a little bit when I was pulling the nuts off to detach the old clippings from the old window. What you need to do, what I should have done, is clamped that old clipping, and so I had something to have leverage against, so I'm not pulling directly on the window harness itself. That would have prevented it from cracking. It just was a very small crack. I don't think it's going to affect the operation of the window itself, but there's a chance in the future that it does break fully. I'll have to go back, get a whole new window assembly, the motor and the assembly and the whole thing. It's a little bit bigger of a project, but once you know how to do the door panel and everything like that, it's not so intimidating. So I'm glad I did it. Saved a lot of money. Hopefully it lasts a while. Hopefully it lasts forever. We'll see, but I am kind of fully expecting I'll need to go back in there and readjust the
bolts at some point. So we'll see how it goes.